It can be a bit breezy in Dubai in the winter, so if you're training on the beach, it's wise to take a few precautions. But then, if you're playing for Zenit St. Petersburg, a bit of sand would seem a small price to pay for the chance to feel a little warmth on your back. The leaders of the Russian Premier League are in Dubai to take part in the Matchworld Cup, a tournament which debuted last year and which gives a number of high-profile teams the chance to stretch their legs against some pretty decent opposition. Mark Bioli is tournament director.
It's the same principle as before. We want to create a tournament for big European clubs, such as Zenit and Shakhtar, who are preparing for Champions League games. Shakhtar may already be out, but Zenit are going to meet Benfica. They needed competitive matches at this time, so the idea is to host a tournament with a mix of entrants from different continents. This year we have 3 different continents taking part. We've brought in an African team in the shape of Etoile Sahel, and we hope to have even more clubs in the future.
8 teams took part in this tournament. Zenit were joined by fellow Russians Rostov, with Shakhtar Donetsk and Bunyod Khor, champions of Ukraine and Uzbekistan respectively. There were the Olympic squads of Uzbekistan and Iraq, preparing for important qualifiers for London 2012. Switzerland's Neuchâtel and Etoile Sahel of Tunisia rounded off the field. The teams were split into 2 groups, although there were only 2 rounds of games before the finals themselves. In Group A, Bunyod Khor in white lost to Zenit, but redeemed themselves with a single-goal victory against Neuchâtel. For the Swiss club, this was likely to be their last hurrah. While they were in Dubai, news came through that they'd had their licence revoked by the Swiss League. It seems they'll be starting up again in the lower divisions next season. Zenit's second match was against Iraq's Olympic team. The Iraqis face a busy February, which could see them qualify as one of Asia's representatives at the London 2012 Games. So a match against Russia's top club was a good test.
Of course, as you know, it's a tournament that includes teams of a very high standard. Really good European teams. For the Iraqi Olympic squad, it gives us the welcome opportunity to mix with such teams ahead of our qualification matches for the London Olympics. We have many new players who've just joined our squad. We never came here to win the tournament, but just to mix with these teams and their professional players. It's gone very well so far. We've been able to play well, and we've shown the Olympic squad in a good light. Of course, it will be a great thing to qualify for London. After all, the Olympic team got to the finals in Athens. But as you know, it won't be an easy task. Most teams don't make it. If we qualify, our presence at the London Olympics will give us a massive boost and provide us with the opportunity to enhance our country's reputation.
It was a match full of twists and turns, but eventually European know-how prevailed against a squad largely composed of players under the age of 23. Zenit squeaked home by 2-1, they'd won the group and will be in the tournament final. In the other group, Shakhtar Donetsk lost their first game to the Uzbek Olympians on penalties, which meant the best they could hope for was a spot in the third-place match. But their presence here was less about winning than taking part and getting match fit for the domestic travails to come.
We didn't have the best results in this tournament last year either, but for us, that isn't that important. What is important is to get physically prepared for the start of the season and to show what we can do at this stage of the preparation. We want this so that we can win the league and the cup in Ukraine this season.
They faced Etoile Sahel of Tunisia, whose own squad had been reduced by call-ups to the Africa Cup of Nations. It was in parts a feisty affair. However, even down to 10 men, Shakhtar completed an easy 4-1 victory. So to the final. Last year, Zenit played Al Hilal of Saudi Arabia and lost in a penalty shootout. The Uzbekistan Olympic team presented them with no such problems. The Russians even decided to rest some of their big guns until the second half, including Portuguese international Dani.
For me, the Russian Championship is now one of the very best leagues around. There's a lot of quality. Russian players and their national team are amongst the strongest in both Europe and the world. And the Russian Championship will continue to grow in importance, because a lot of quality players who've been playing in England, Spain and even Italy now want to come to Russia.
The stars were introduced after the break to devastating effect. Dani scoring the last two in a 5-0 win. Zenit will be returning to domestic action at the beginning of March, and if their showing in Dubai is anything to go by, the Russian title will be well within their grasp.